Why does a unique sense of place matter? A unique sense of place creates an experience. An experience creates a memory. Memories inspire an engaged community, and engaged communities have regional and global impacts. When we see this image, what do you think of? You start to think of what this unique sense of place is about. You think of the blue skies. It's tropical. There's probably an ocean nearby, sandy beach, seashells on the beach, and you think about the experiences that you may have at a place like this. You can think of a walk on a beach, photography, water activities, windsurfing, surfing, sailing, scuba diving, snorkeling. There's all sorts of experiences that happen at unique senses of place. And then we start to think of what kind of memories we create with the people that they're there with. Vacations, family vacations, these resort atmospheres are unique senses of place that create experiences and memories. There's a mountain lodge. Has natural materials to build the lodge, has great architecture, and right away you start to think of what kind of place, what do you imagine when you start to walk into this place? You probably think of a fireplace, the smell of smoke, warmth, maybe low lights, but there's a lot of activities and experiences to have at a place such as this. Downhill skiing, cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, summertime, mountain biking, hiking. There's a lot of activities to happen at this unique sense of place. And how do you feel when you see this image? There's handcrafted log home, foundation made out of the native stones, and it's a cabin that has a lot of history to it. Think of all of the experiences and memories that have been created in a place like this. Maybe once started out as a fishing camp, a place to get away for a couple days, get away during your summer vacation. There's an opportunity to go for a walk in the woods, a dock nearby with some water, really calm water, wind coming off the lake, sunsets, sunrises, and all the activities that happen at a unique sense of place. And here we have a loft space. Brick walls, big windows, wood floors, wood ceilings, and we start to imagine what this building was once used for. Probably a mercantile building, or it could be a place that they were using for warehouse. But now this place is clearly used for residential living. But it's a small square footage. This thing is maybe 250, 300 square feet or something. And he has everything in this space. You look closely, you see he has his bedroom, his living room, his workout room, his office, his desk, and his master closet over in the corner with the lamp on it. But this is absolutely something, a small little space, but we know that there's a vibrant downtown somewhere nearby. And when we look at these places, we want to think of each one of these as their larger regional landscape. The ocean, the mountain village, Minnesota Lake, or vibrant downtown core. And all of these are small places of a larger regional landscape, a larger city that they all exist in. Here in the Red River Valley, we're part of the prairie. The prairie is a spectacular, great, dynamic ecosystem. The place that we're in today once had 300 feet of water over the top of it. It was Glacial Lake Agassiz. The Lake Agassiz was larger than all the Great Lakes combined and extended way into Canada. And once this lake drained, it would actually raise the sea level by 9 feet. And what was left was the flattest, richest farm soil in the world. And prairie existed here for thousands of years. And this prairie is very, very dynamic ecosystem. Has hundreds of varieties of species of plants and wildflowers that thrive on fire. They don't need fertilizer. They don't need irrigation. And these plants are spectacular. They can go dormant for 10 years at a time. And then once the right conditions come together, all of a sudden you will see that certain wildflowers will start to grow again and start to thrive because of moisture conditions that change over 10-year cycles. It's a spectacular native landscape that we're all a part of here in the Red River Valley. And prairies, again, thrive on fire. If you take a prairie and you burn it in the spring, you are going to be promoting the grasses to grow. If you burn it in the fall, the wildflowers grow. And they have roots, over 7 feet deep. And what I've always felt is really important about a landscape is to be thinking of what is the regional landscape that we're a part of. Understanding the regional landscape of where you're from and understanding your regional culture and thinking of ways to enhance your senses, enhance the way you see things, what you hear, what you taste and touch. These are all the ingredients to create a unique sense of place. And then we see neighborhoods that are built across the country and we start to wonder what kind of experiences happen in neighborhoods such as this. This is our built environment. And we have no idea what town this is in across the country. It happens in many of them. And we wonder what experiences are happening in these type of neighborhoods. They're having great birthday parties and lives are lived and there's Christmas and Thanksgiving. But then you wonder, where's the common space? Where's the space for people to start to have conversations? Where's the park space at? Where are people gathering to have the dialogue? Do they know their neighbors? Do they know their neighbors that are 3 doors down? I mean, what is the interaction in a neighborhood such as this? There are examples of great neighborhoods that have a lot of history to them, and these neighborhoods start to have discussions about what's important for their neighborhood, and they want to take pride in that. They make improvements. They make improvements to their properties. They make improvements to their neighborhoods. They care. They care about their community, and this discussion starts to create engaged neighborhoods. Engaged neighborhoods talk about what's important to their community. And the downtowns of our communities have the greatest opportunity to create a unique sense of place. There's great history here in the buildings. There's great history in the stories. And it's the only place that has the opportunity to have all of the diversity of what happens and all the activities that can happen in one spot. In your downtowns, you can live, work, play, learn, and do all of those activities in just a short amount of space. And many buildings have 1 or 2 or 3 of those happening all at one time. And what that creates is that there's a lot of pedestrian traffic. There's a lot of people moving around. There's a lot of energy. It's a place that people want to be. They're attracted to places that have multiple activities, deep history in the architecture and why buildings were built, and then it creates this great energy. So then people end up having these chance interactions of meeting people on the street. Again, they're having the discussions of what's happening in their neighborhood. And there's a very strong community that gets built in these downtown cores, and people collaborate. They do business, and they really start to interact. There was a study done by the Knight Foundation with 43,000 people, and they're looking for what are the elements that are consistent to create an engaged community. And they found 3 things. It was important for cities to have social offerings. It was important for cities to have diversity and to appreciate the aesthetics of their built environment. And if they have these, they start to have the ingredients for an engaged community. Engaged communities come together in times of crisis. They come together and participate in great events and great activities in the spaces in their communities. And so having an engaged community, an engaged neighborhood that creates opportunities for people to talk and have discussions, this is what's creating our next city commissioners, our next volunteers, our next entrepreneurs, our businesses, people that are wanting to take risk, plant their roots in their cities, and make commitments to be here, make improvements, and make great communities for where we live. Engaged communities have a regional and global impact. There's many ways to measure the economic successes of neighborhoods. We can find information, kind of across the country on how engaged neighborhoods have higher property values, or they may have successful businesses that come in. There's kind of information abundantly that we can find on how the economic impacts are created by an engaged community. There's there are some things that are a little bit tougher to measure and to kind of find out the information, but we all hear about it, is the people that are wanting to move back to these communities. Maybe they grew up here, lived here. Maybe they want to move here just because they hear about the city, they hear about the community, they hear about the downtown, and they see a neighborhood that they want to live in, a neighborhood they want to be a part of. And then it recruits people to be here. It recruits people to make decisions to raise their families here, retains people to be here. But the most important question that I think we can ask when considering when we're considering if we should build a unique sense of place, the most important question that I think we can ask is what is the value of an engaged community, and what is the value of a memory? Thank you.